Hey, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. I am Crystal Moyer, been filling in. She will be back this week to join you. We have a lot to talk about today. We've been following breaking news after overnight developments in Baltimore. A bridge, an entire bridge, a huge artery there in the Outer Harbor area has collapsed after a container ship ran into it. There were some vehicles on that bridge at the time. A huge, rescue effort underway. We're going to get into some of those details and what we have just learned coming up in moments. We're also talking about the city of Orlando potentially owing over $50,000 in property taxes after a whole debacle with the Pulse Foundation and a property they're supposed to use as a memorial and museum that definitely the project just didn't happen. So we're going to talk about what city leaders are planning to do with that. And also, I know you guys know that huge iconic ride over in Orlando. We're talking about the Wheel at Icon Park. Well, that has been renamed after a company has purchased that ride. And some interesting facts about the history of this entertainment company. And we're going to talk about what it is named now, which you probably already know because it's a former name. So let's get right to it. We're going to start with our weather with meteorologist Candace Campos. Good morning.
Morning.
So obviously the weather, we've been talking about the roller coaster weather, and we are dealing with some pretty mild temperatures. It's going to get pretty warm today, but some rain
Yeah.
on the way.
It's interesting because today I was thinking to myself, oh, it's going to be a warm day. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
wear like some short sleeves because, it's going to be warm. And I have a heater right next to me and a fleece blanket here.
What
A
did you
fleece thick
text me this
blanket.
morning? What did you? I have to check my phone real quick
Pull
because
it up. Pull
we
it up.
talked about our alarms yesterday because we name our alarms
Yes.
different things to get up. And here's Candace Campos at 3:09 a.m.
Yeah.
Let me make sure it's appropriate. All right, so this is the chat. And Candace, what did you put? Pack your
Yeah.
hand warmers, brah,
Brah. Brah. It was more like a bra.
brah. And this was at 3:09 a.m. If you don't know, our newsroom and studio is pretty chilly. We have a lot of cameras and
Yes.
a lot of computers and things in there, so the temperature has to be just right. But just right sometimes it's a little cold, like 30
Yeah.
degrees for what we
And it's
feel
funny because
like.
everyone's like, well, why don't you just wear a jacket when you're not on TV? I'm like, then I have to like peel it off and peel it back,
When
peel
they're
it
like,
off.
Candace, 3, 2, run.
So, do you really want to see what I do real quick?
Yeah.
Here's some behind the scenes, okay? So, hold on. So over here, I have my little buddy, okay? And then after I'm about to get out, I do this. So wait, when I get back in, I can just it's warm.
I feel like you're doing it in slow motion because when you're like up against the time and they're like, Candace, you are in 5, 4, you got to run, chuck that,
Yeah.
chuck the blanket and get to the weather.
Yeah. That's why I can't do a jacket because I'll end up on TV with half an arm in. Anyway, there you go. That
Things
was a little
happen.
behind the scenes for those wondering what I do back here, along with the weather and stuff. All right, let's take it to the map, show you what's going on. It is not cold outside. It's a nice mild start across Central Florida. Take a live look outside Daytona Beach. Now it's going to be just a nice day temperature-wise, but we are anticipating still another breezy day on tap. So with that being said, still have that high risk of rip currents, high surf advisory. Boaters, we do have that small craft advisory as well in place. But right now, temperatures are at 70 degrees. But if you're planning on staying on the sand, the weather's not too bad. The surf's still about 5 to 7 feet. If you are going to be adventuring out into the water, just please, please, please swim by a lifeguard. Right now, we're in the mid 60s, pretty much area wide, low 70s along our coast. If you ask me, I don't even think you need a light jacket this morning. That's how mild it is. And we will continue to warm up back into the mid 80s. It's kind of a nice day with that breeze, but it's more of a southerly breeze, a southeast. And because of that, we will be warming up a little further than yesterday. Yesterday's high was 80. Today, we're up to about 85 degrees. So here's kind of the big picture. This is our next system that is slowly trekking along across the country. We're going to see kind of the tail end of this front. It's going to turn almost stationary, bring some rain across our far northern zones tomorrow, and then it'll finally get a big push that will clear Central Florida on Thursday. So this is what we're looking at when it comes to our forecast locally here. We're going to see those scattered showers start kind of moving into Central Florida at least until about Wednesday afternoon. So let's put this into motion here. Hold on, my computer's freezing up on me. There you go. This is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon today. We're still looking dry. Maybe can't rule out the chance of an isolated sprinkle or two. And then here comes what looks to be the front. Well, it kind of is. It's just kind of ahead of that front, bringing some scattered showers throughout the afternoon on Wednesday. But if you notice, it's not for everybody. It's going to be across our far northern zone. So we're going to keep the rain chances a little higher for areas of Marion, Northern Lake, and Sumter County into the Volusia County area as well. And then it kind of tapers off. Could see a couple isolated showers overnight, Wednesday and into Thursday. And then the bulk of the moisture along that front starts coming through early on the day on Thursday. Now, with that being said, there will be that potential of seeing some strong storms, not very widespread, but still certainly the potential for it. And that's as we head into your Thursday as well. So rain chances for tomorrow still up to about a 60%, but that's for areas like Marion County and Ocala, about a 40% in Palm Coast because you guys are so far north. But areas from Sanford southward through Orlando, Kissimmee, even along our coastline, your rain chances are pretty normal, down to about a 10 to 20%. The same area that's expected to see the higher threat for rain north of Sanford will also have that marginal risk for strong to severe storms. We're not talking about a big chance here. It's not at the slight risk category either. But there is a little bit of instability that could happen tomorrow afternoon just because we are warming up into the mid 80s, that we could fire up a strong storm or two in the forecast. Once that front clears, we're going to be back into the mid 70s on Friday. And then we'll slowly start kind of moderating back to near normal, slightly above normal as we head into your Easter Sunday. So sunrise services around 7 a.m. will be in the low 60s. We're looking mostly clear, sunny, warm, nice looking Easter Sunday on tap. And here's your 7-day forecast. Temperatures will continue to stay warm today and tomorrow, cooling off behind that front, but still staying sunny and dry throughout most of your Easter weekend. So a Wednesday and Thursday tends to be kind of the little troublesome spot. It's going to be very much about location, Crystal, when it comes to the rain. So depending on where you are, if you're going to be in Melbourne tomorrow and Thursday, then your best chance of rain will come more like late Thursday morning.
Okay.
Marion County, you have a little more rounds of rain in the forecast compared to your friends in Brevard County.
But I liked what you mentioned earlier during the morning show that having rain overnight is actually really beneficial because that's, when you're supposed to be watering all of your plants and your grass and everything like that. So much needed rain.
That's when your grass absorbs it as much. Because if you're sitting there watering your lawn at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a very high percentage of that water that you are spending just evaporating into thin air. So thank you for watering our planet, our air. Thank you for making
spending money. Right,
yeah.
Right, exactly.
And as we know, the water bill has not been very low lately. So dry season, not nice.
Not at all, not at all. All right, Candace, thank you so much for giving us a little behind the scenes peek. I might sneak back there in a little while to warm up my hands. So thanks.
Come cuddle. Come cuddle. Goodbye.
I love it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, we just heard a little bit about the weather, but of course we can't talk about weather without talking about our Central Florida traffic. So let's bring in the one, the only, Trooper Steve.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
I'm so cold.
How are you cold inside Results One?
Well, I do have, let's see, since she's showing behind the scenes, I'll show behind the scenes.
You do control, your air conditioning in there.
We're at a 73 current with the heat seaters in full blast. So, and my truck is reading that it's 67 outside. So I don't know what is wrong with me, but I'm just probably still thawing out from our morning show. By the way, Crystal, I need to give you a shout. It has been an absolute pleasure hosting the desk with you.
Oh, thank you.
We've had so much fun. I thought it's been smooth as butter. So I appreciate you, girl.
It's nice that you wear many hats. If you didn't know, Steve is a trooper. He's an anchor. He does traffic. What can't he do? What can't he do?
Today, we started to talk about a certain topic, and I was like, no. I am not getting on. I am a vehicle expert. We're not talking about rockets or plane. I do not get involved in any of that. So
Yeah.
someone was like, Steve, you should talk about. I was like, no, I should not. I should
For
not talk about
now.
that.
For now.
Well, we already know our director, our news director, probably watches this, watches the last hour of the morning show. So I'm sure they'll be sending me to a school to learn something. Who knows?
All right. So when it comes to traffic, it's not been too bad today, for a typical morning.
It's actually a really nice morning. DOT cam showing downtown Orlando, showing exactly what Candace is showing us this morning. Beautiful skies, man, and it's helping out our roadways. Things are running clear for the most part. We do have our routine stuff going on. It's a Tuesday, so hey, you got to make sure. Normally we see the slowdown on Friday, but right now downtown Orlando looking nice. Within the area, you're seeing a slight slowdown in the eastbound direction there, but that again, routine. You just need to be careful, increase that following distance. Up in Seminole, slow westbound, of course. We see this every single morning, but I'm glad to report no crashes within that area. Where is this dot cam? This is dot cam is going to be right where that slowdown was. I-4 at State Road 46. You can see Seminole Town Center off to the distance there as you're coming over that hill. People are merging in. This happened to me yesterday. Got to be careful. If you're in a merge, it does not guarantee you the right to merge. You are required to yield to the other vehicles already in their travel lane. So 26 minutes, Osceola Parkway to Colonial and I-4, 24 coming in from Lake Mary. Look at this slowdown. This happened a little while ago. I'm not picking anything up on data when it comes to a crash or an incident, but we are super slow in Kissimmee right now on the turnpike. Slow and Kissimmee are next to each other in the dictionary, but when it comes to 192 right now, some problems out there. Did have a minor crash at Jones and Narcoossee. You can see some slowdowns northbound there. But outside of that, not a horrible morning. 429 slow southbound, but have I given you a major crash yet? I have not. Mount Dora, Tavares, Eustis, Lane Park, Howie in the Hills clear. And then if you're still lingering, if you're watching us here and you're not a resident from spring break, behave, please, as we finish our last couple of weeks here. Daytona Beach currently running in the clear. I don't get to say clear that much, Crystal, in
No, you don't.
traffic report. No.
Well,
So no complaints.
Well, I'm glad things are going well today. So what are you doing today for Trooper Steve on patrol? Give us a little preview of what we can expect.
So it is Women's History Month, right?
Yes.
And I focus on law enforcement and first responders, so I am doing just that today. I called my buddy down at the St. Cloud Police Department, Chief Doug Gerke, an amazing law enforcement leader and a really good friend of mine. I go, brother, I know you are not successful without having some awesome people around you. And he goes, you're 100% right. I go, hook me up with them. So today I am welcoming in Captain Denise Roberts and Lieutenant De La Rosa of the St. Cloud Police Department, Command
Nice.
Element officers. Captain Denise Roberts has been with them for a long time, super involved in the community. I'm not familiar with Marisol De La Rosa, but if she's a lieutenant, she's obviously doing something right. So we're going to welcome these two amazing women into Results One today for a law enforcement discussion, what it's like being a woman in law enforcement, how their career started, and just featuring them on a month where we recognize some really powerhouses in our community. And that's going to be at 10 a.m. at clickorlando.com and News 6 Plus. So
Looking forward
it's
to
gonna
it.
be good.
And while we're on the topic of St. Cloud, we did a story earlier this morning talking about how the city has been involved in some type of, ransomware cyber breach or something like that. So right now they're saying, police and fire rescue are able to, to respond to whatever they need to respond to, but some of their phone lines and things have been affected by this breach. So they're saying, if you're trying to do parks and recs, bring cash because they won't allow you to pay with your cards. And they're working on whatever is going on there. So you can find out more information on clickorlando.com. But I did just want to bring that up for those who are viewing from
absolutely.
St. Cloud, that you can get the rest of the details there. But they're saying trash and everything like that is as usual, will happen. First responders
I think it's
are able
definitely
to.
going to be. Yeah, it's definitely going to be probably a formality more for the city than it is
Right.
for the residents. I'm sure they're running around crazy right
Yeah.
now. And the Parks and Recs folks, I feel bad for the dump trucks. If they're going to have to pay in cash to unload and all their stuff today, might make for an interesting payload. But of course, like you said, police services, fire rescue, everything's still functioning as normal down there. And if anything changes, Crystal, I'm sure you're going to let us know.
Oh, we sure will. I'll keep my eye on that. Thank you so much, Trooper Steve. As always, stay safe out there. We'll see you at 10
Thank you,
o'clock.
ma'am.
All right, so kind of shifting to some wild news, breaking news that we've been following since overnight, and this is out of Baltimore. A bridge has collapsed after a container ship ran into it. We have some video that captured the whole thing. Take a look. Now, this happened at the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and this is like a major artery on 695 on the eastern side of Maryland. Take a look. The entire, well, a major portion of the bridge, I will say, collapses after that container ship ran into it. It happened around 1:30 a.m. Rescue efforts are underway as we speak after several people are believed to have fallen from that bridge, driving along it, several cars just plunging into the water below. So far, rescue crews say 2 people have been pulled from the water, 1 transported to the hospital in critical condition, and they believe they're looking for 7 others. This is just crazy video to watch, just everyone's worst nightmare, driving along the bridge and just seeing it collapse. Not sure what caused all of this. Of course, an investigation will be underway to try to figure that out. But right now, the focus is to rescue those who were affected in the water right now, trying to make sure everybody's accounted for, trying to make sure everyone is okay. But of course, we'll be following this all day long. This is big news. A major artery, 695. This is a major thoroughfare for thousands of people in the Baltimore, Maryland area to get to and from work, to get to and from home. So, of course, this is going to affect a lot of people in that area. If you have family or friends, maybe check in on them, make sure they're all right. But that's just a wild story, and we're still waiting to get some more details. There will be press conferences throughout the morning, and we will update you on News 6 at noon. And, of course, clickorlando.com. We're constantly updating our articles with any more information that we learn. All right, so let's talk about the Pulse nightclub because, really tragic mass shooting that occurred over there. And that's when the One Pulse Foundation was formed to create a memorial and a potential museum. Now, millions of dollars has been collected through the One Pulse Foundation over the years, and there's no memorial and no museum. So where did the money go? That's what people are trying to figure out because the One Pulse Foundation formally dissolved at the end of last year. And what happened was the city of Orlando actually took over that West Cayley Street building that the One Pulse Foundation was planning to use as a museum to honor those who were killed in that very tragic mass shooting at that Pulse nightclub. The issue is there's over $50,000 in unpaid property taxes attached to that building. So now the city of Orlando is trying to figure out, the clock is ticking for them to pay that money or the fines are going to start racking up. So right now, I just want to mention the taxes. It doesn't have anything to do with the nightclub. It's that West Cayley Street building that they were planning to build that museum. The city took it over, says we're going to build something, a memorial, a museum, something of that nature. So News 6's Mark Lehman explains the process of all of this.
This morning, it's another fallout surrounding the One Pulse Foundation. Orange County commissioners will be deciding if taxpayers will foot the bill for nearly $52,000 in back property taxes. It's all tied to a warehouse on West Cayley. One Pulse bought the property in 2019 using the county's tourist development tax funds. The plan was to build a museum to honor the victims of the 2016 Pulse nightclub shooting, but that idea was scrapped in October with the land returned to the county. About a month later, One Pulse dissolved.
What we were starting to find out was that people, corporations in particular, had very little interest in donating toward a memorial and just as little toward a museum.
The county is racing against a deadline to pay property taxes. On April 1st, late fees start piling up. Over 7 years, One Pulse only raised a fraction of the money needed to build a museum or memorial. Last year, the city of Orlando agreed to buy the Pulse nightclub property. One Pulse handing over design work for the memorial, but the mayor said the city is not interested in plans for a museum nearby.
I think that perhaps they lost focus on the primary mission of creating the memorial and had a lot of focus on creating the museum.
That was News 6's Mark Lehman reporting. Of course, as this news starts to develop and we figure out what is going on with the Pulse Nightclub Memorial and Potential Museum, we will let you know. This is something we've been following since the very beginning. So try to figure out where those millions of dollars went and what the city is going to do about the unpaid property taxes. All right, moving on now to a major hearing today surrounding an abortion pill and abortion access in the U.S. So right now, more than a year after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, the justices, they're going to hear arguments surrounding the abortion pill mifepristone. Difficult for me to say. I'm so sorry. So critics say they have two major issues with this pill. They say their issue is with how easily it is for women to get. So the FDA, they recently made some changes allowing the pill to be mailed directly to patients without a consultation. It also allows the drug to be taken up to 10 weeks into pregnancy instead of 7. So, a lot of back and forth on what people in different groups think. Of course, the law is going through right now in Florida and the U.S., so we will stay updated with this. And, even if they do come up with a decision, because the hearing is today, we don't expect a decision until June. So this is definitely something that's going to be a topic of conversation for the next few months moving forward. So we'll keep you updated with that as well. And I know a lot of you travel, and if you travel, that means you've probably been to the Orlando International Airport. And let me just say, when it comes to parking and even just driving up, it's a flippin' mess. We can all agree with that, right? Well, an issue that's been brought up by someone who used to do some, patrolling over there near the Orlando International Airport is parking on the side of the road, leading up to where you would drop off or pick up somebody coming and going from the airport. So a lot of signs up as you're driving up to departures or arrivals. You see signs that say, don't park on the side of the road, because a lot of people wait there instead of using the cell lots to pick up people and passengers at the airport. So News 6's Eric Von Aken explains, the trend is worrying a former police chief who used to be in charge of protecting the airport.
This is Jeff Fuqua Boulevard. Chances are you've driven down this road a bunch of times if you've picked up or dropped off anybody at the airport. Over there on the other side of these trees, that's where the planes are. Down the road is the terminals. But this is not a parking place, yet people continue to park here. And neither the airport nor the police department are stopping them. I asked both the airport and the police department, why does this keep happening? And is this not a concern? Both gave me similar responses, that they continue to work together, that drivers disregard signage, and the airport understands OPD cannot be stationed there at all times. Former Police Chief Orlando Rolone, you retired from the Orlando Police Department in 2022. This was an issue that you were dealing with up until the point that you left the police department.
Correct. We did the best that we could with the resources that we had at the time to send officers out there to put or post proper signage.
The Orlando Police Department has said that they take safety seriously, but not enough, as we've seen, to constantly patrol and move people off of those shoulders. Should they?
I think that is something that the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority and the Orlando Police Department must address and must answer. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes aggressive action, whether it's aggressive enforcement.
The bottom line is this is still a secure area on airport property.
Even the outskirts of the main terminal are considered areas that could be affected if someone was thinking about bringing harm.
We asked both the airport and the police department, are they concerned about this? They did not address that particular question. Are you concerned about it?
Any citizen who drives by that area should be concerned about someone using an emergency lane that is reserved for individuals in need.
And you also believe this is a potential threat to the airport?
Well, anytime you have someone who's violating the law and basically within a facility as important as the airport, there should be some concern also as to who it is that's parking there.
And I remember just a few weeks ago at the start of spring break, a suspicious bag shut down Terminal B for almost 3 hours. And the former Orlando police chief says there's a fix for this that doesn't have to cost a lot of money if manpower is the issue. He says, first of all, put some more parking signs out here. There are none where I'm standing and only 2 in this entire area. The second thing, he says, do something motion activated, like flashing lights or a loudspeaker that would tell drivers to move around the clock. At MCO, Eric Von Anken getting results, News 6.
Some good options there. You know who they need to put out there? You know, those folks when you're on the side about to try to stop and get somebody over at departures or arrivals and they're not there and you're kind of just sitting there. Oh, they will come behind you and say, move. You have to drive in circles to keep going around until that person gets their bags and they're outside. Maybe that would help. All right, shifting now to an iconic landmark. I say iconic, you'll know in just a moment, that has changed the Orlando skyline. I'm talking about the Orlando Eye, okay? The wheel, the eye. We'll tell you about this. The name has changed from the wheel to the Orlando Eye, and that's because it's been purchased, or shall I say repurchased, by Merlin Entertainment. So they originally owned and operated this ride that you can get on at Icon Park. Merlin Entertainment also owns and runs Peppa Pig, Legoland, Sea Life, Madame Tussauds. So it's really interesting. They repurchased and then named it the original name, the Orlando Eye. So expect to see a lot of new signage as you head down to Icon Park. I'm not sure how much they, repurchased it for. Hopefully for less than what they bought it for. But that's really interesting that they're going back to the original name. Remember, the wheel opened back in 2015. So it's been a major tourist attraction for people to be able to see, above Orlando. So that's pretty interesting. Thank you so much for joining us for Breakfast with Bridgett. I am Crystal Moyer. Bridgett will be back tomorrow, so you can welcome her back here to WKMG. Remember, you can get all updates, especially on that breaking news out of Baltimore, Maryland, on clickorlando.com. 8 o'clock, you can stick around for Weatherwise with Jonathan Kegas, and 8:30, Trooper Steve's on patrol. We'll see you later for News 6 at noon. Have a great day.